sticking point in terms of that. We have our own knowledge, but we get together and have a conversation, and we go at each other a little bit, and there's a little bit of tension in how we're expressing our ideas to each other. And I guarantee you, because you said it yourself tonight, and I often mention it, most of what I've learned comes from the classroom environment. Whereas I'm hearing it from somebody else, and I'm improving my knowledge because of the conversations.
Right.
So if we can't turn it around and say to a person, hoarding knowledge is a disservice to yourself. If you're a knowledge sharer, if you're having conversations and you're out there going at each other with knowledge, combating knowledge, you will certainly improve your body of knowledge, your own personal body of knowledge.
Right.
And I believe that's absolutely true. I have not seen research to prove that it's true, but I just know from human interactions that it's absolutely true.
Right. That's what makes us more capable.
That's fine, but how do you measure that? I mean to cut you off, but how is that measured? Okay, that's the interaction between you two. But now, in an organizational structure, where basically a lot of us are coming out of, and we have bosses and a hierarchical structure that we have to answer to, how do we come back in?
Yeah, those are two separate issues. You can get over to that in a moment, but this one has to be, you encourage people to have conversations, and in those conversations, they're going to not only share knowledge, but they're going to actually improve their own body of knowledge.
Right.
Okay? Now, out of that should determine a better result. Because we're both more intelligent, we should be able to create a finer, better product, whatever that result is that needs to be measured by the company. You don't measure the amount of conversation you have. You measure what we are able to do because of that result. Yeah. Results.
But
I was going to answer your measurement question, or at least throw an
Sure.
I wrote a paper recently around storytelling and how you measure knowledge sharing through storytelling. And basically what you do is you try to get some sort of, a structure around it, in the sense that a level 1 metric is the number of people or the number of times. You're still in that mechanistic model. But as you go through the levels, it becomes more and more complex towards the outcome of what you're trying to get done. You start moving into narrative, because the ability to put something in a narrative allows you to contain the context of what happened around the knowledge work, so it doesn't put you in a numerical sort of place, so that it's actually a narrative that you can see in interaction between people, between social interactions, between whatever happened. So you give the management the level 1 metrics, which is the narrative, in order to address the knowledge work, which is more complex and can't be put in a numerical form.
Yeah,
and that also speaks to the human element in the organization and the need for qualitative data through stories and then coding the stories so that you get the knowledge, so you get the measures that you need.
Carl?
Yeah, the other problem I see is that with knowledge and things, we can come up with a better way of doing things, so we're not making a mistake, we're not spending things, but how do you, so that the savings from not doing things, that's part of the quantitative.
Right. Well, all I would say, and it's easy to say this, is that I think we're not sufficiently, I believe we're not sufficiently sort of focused, intelligent about the measurement thing. We've sort of got it into our heads for good reason, because it's been sort of drummed into us over many generations. Clear, is the answer. And that's, if we believe that the nature of work has changed and that our ways of doing things are connected to the work itself, factory work, knowledge work, then a lot of what we've taken for granted has to change. And we have to be able to challenge. That's the thing. So I'm not saying don't measure. I'm saying that we're too obsessed with metrics, and often I think we're focused on the wrong things. And there are other ways, as Denise was suggesting, as you were suggesting. I find this even in an academic environment where we're not concerned with results, but there's still this huge emphasis to do quantitative research, because it comes out as numbers. And many of the social issues like global warming, if we look at what's going on, it's the qualitative issues, it's the human issues, that it's people's inability to sort of curb appetites and things, that are important. And if we keep looking at the numbers, we're not going to come to what matters. And I think it's the same with the knowledge management stuff. Now, it's easy to say that. It's, of course, much more difficult to do it in organizations. But being aware of it, being reflective about it, is important, I think, is not taking it for granted.
It's a very real, tangible example of collaboration, I think, is what's happening on the web in different ways between blogs and wikis, for example.
Yeah.
What's motivating contributors to the wiki to spend time creating their narratives, contributing knowledge, and reviewing the contributions of others?
Right.
Can we learn something from the motivational?
There's no money involved.
There's no money involved.
Right.
So what's the motivation?
Right.
Where's the reward?
Right.
I guess it's professional reward in knowing that I contributed additional knowledge.
Right.
Or I'm of a level that I can be a critic.
It's an altruistic thing
So, but how do you impart that kind of thing within the corporate environment?
And yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think it's a great example. I also think that what we see in that is it's a model of peer-to-peer accountability. Who holds you accountable for the quality of what you do? Not your peers, not some group of experts at the editorial committee at the top. Yes, exactly.
It has nothing to do with their manager, vice president.
Right. And so it's such, I mean, that's a great example because it's such an important shift, in terms of you sort of look at the model and say, it's so different from, it has structure to it, but it's not the structure that we think of. It's a structure that comes from accountability. It's a structure that comes from a sense of commitment, not from a sense of being compelled to do things,
It's not totally chaotic.
No.
It's self-policing.
Exactly. And that, I think, is also an important realization. We seem to have this view that it's either chaos or there's control by somebody. You know what I mean? Somebody's in charge or we've got chaos. And that seems to be a totally false dichotomy, too, because we have, I mean, most of us are, I think about my own trials and tribulations trying to bring up a son. But most of us are reasonably successful as parents and so on. But we don't have somebody saying, here's the manual, this is how you do it, today you do this. You know what I mean? It's a learning process, and that's what life is like. And somehow, when we get into organizations, that's not possible. We can't work that way.
You're talking about a self-organizing network as a corporation. And that's going to be a long time coming.
Well, in a way, I believe it's there. Because if we look at how we do our work, most of it is self-organized. It's not within that umbrella of the corporation. You know what I mean? It's a cross-organized. The self-organizing is there. It's just that we don't see it in a way. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a long time coming. I think it's a long time being recognized. That's the thing.
Well, but corporate structures are not going to...
No, won't recognize it.
Well, I don't know about that. And I had a suggestion. Right. Instead of calling something knowledge management, you're talking about knowledge sharing. Management, by definition, implies control and measurement. Right. And so I think these are also issues that we have to work with. Yeah. And you can understand why people jumped on knowledge management, because it was all about what we do in organizations. We manage, So. From the organization point of view, knowledge management, I believe, people feel that they have intellectual property in the organization, that they have knowledge of people who are going to retire in the organization, and they feel that's valuable knowledge which the organization must capture before it disappears outside the organization. So from their point of view, they like the idea of managing this intellectual property, managing the knowledge of the people who are their employees.
Right.
They don't give a damn about how the work gets done. You at the working level have to share knowledge to get it done. So it's a completely different point of view, and it's very few enlightened organizations that will say, wow, we really want knowledge sharing. And if we get knowledge management, well and good. If not, it doesn't matter.
Well, I don't think that's true. I mean, I think that you're right about that sort of those different perspectives. But I think that the people who I speak to are often the senior managers who want the knowledge sharing.